Hello, hello. Mic check legit. Check 1 2 1 2. Whew. You know, when you don't use OBS in months, it will break. Things break. They want to break. Things don't want to work the way that they should be working. I had to re-authenticate YouTube. Twitch was already re-authenticated, which was fine. But now it's set as my default for some reason. I was trying to figure out how to do the shorts version to get that as well, but I don't know. It doesn't want to work. And then I also don't have multi-chat. I have multi-chat, but it doesn't want to show up. So I have to have that window open to see you. And hello, Protein Rivieri. Okay. I'm getting my wits about me. Wait, I'm on the wrong screen. Here we go. I'm trying to get my wits about me to figure out what I'm going to do. So I've been working on a little template here for this because I'm going to turn this into a video. I'm going to turn it into shorts and all that sort of stuff. So when I'm going through the general avenue of it, I probably won't have a lot of people asking questions, which is fine. But I just plan on pretty much going through what I planned on talking about as it is a video and then going from there. So we have several things to talk about today with a hour and a half maximum live stream. Before we get into the nitty-gritty of it all, though, we can talk about other things and just shoot the breeze about how things have been. It has been a hot minute since I've been live. I don't even know the last time I went live. I think it was in October when I was celebrating monetization, which we're still monetized. We haven't done anything wrong. Wait, okay. Right? Forgot you were TY primary over on this side now. Like YouTube? Oh, YouTube. Yeah, the opposite. Yeah. So either one is fine for me. I found a way to get both chats open. Either one is fine, but I figure why not just hit it to Twitch as well? It might do whatever it does, and then people on Twitch can come on over. You know, actually, should I kind of do that? Like, I don't know. It doesn't really matter. Twitch is secondary right now, even though it's way, way, way easier to use and way more friendly. But oh, goodness. The last time I sat in this chair, I was playing Hearthstone. I've played it a couple of times since then and not since then. It's been busy. It's been busy. It's been a whole month. I don't think I don't even know. Go to my, gonna check my studio real quick. I don't even know the last time I released an actual like long form video. That was, I did one in November, just one in November. So it's been crazy. I have so many videos that are already filmed and ready to go. I just need to edit them and put them up. I filmed them, content's all there, it's all good. But it's just time, man. So I was like, okay, today I had a handful of things to do and I could move it in. Why is that not? That should be like, okay, we want that to be a little bit like that. There we go. That way it's taking up the whole screen. So we had, just a lot going on, but channel's been going very well. No issues or complaints or problems there. I'm very pleased with the way that the Don Tech has been. And now I figure I can try my hand on some things. So I was talking to Krista about the RAM stuff, and she's like, you should make a video about that. I'm like, yeah, everybody's doing it. It's like, well, everybody was doing Windows 10 stuff, and that really worked out well for your channel. So I was like, okay, we'll make some stuff where we kind of bring back a segment that I had that was not that popular back in the day, where it was the Don Tech News, where I talk about just the news. So I have several tabs over on here that we're going to go through talking about what is going on, what's like the general synopsis of the things here. You know, what does it mean? What is happening? What should I do? When will the RAM prices go down? What products are affected? You know, those sort of like general topics and everything. Because RAM is getting, it's kind of gnarly right now. It is not a good time. It's just not a good time. I don't need to express anything else from there. It is not a good time. End sentence. Fill in the blank from there. But I'm assuming my audio is good because everything has been set there. No issues, no problems. I don't need to look back at my Discord. I don't need to look back at my 2020. I don't care. I don't know. I don't want to look at my Discord 2025. I don't really care what I did. So let's get out of there. Oh, and that brings me up to another question that I have as well. Because your system protein is DDR4. And I was going to look up as well, because I have some things with Google. I was going to just figure out if DDR4 RAM is also affected. I know that they shut down a lot of the manufacturing of the DDR4 RAM, but I don't know. I mean, if they stop manufacturing it, then it's not going to be, you know, yeah, it's going to be expensive either way. So I should get some RAM. I have some RAM. I'm going to get some. I'm going to show like I'm a baller, you know. Oh, there we go. RAM. Beautiful, beautiful RAM. These are only 8 gig sticks. So right here, I've got 32 gigs of DDR4 RAM, which isn't extremely expensive. Like back in the day, it wasn't 32 gigs. I mean, that was basic. That was RAM that was inside of my old gaming PC that I recently sold. And fortunately for me, all of my systems are top notch. Like my editing PC's got 64 gigs of RAM. Delete's PC has 64 gigs of RAM. My new PC has 96 gigs of RAM. My work PC only has 32 gigs of RAM, but that's okay. The worst, and our old streaming PC has, I think, 32, maybe 64 gigs of RAM. The worst PC in my arsenal right now is my work PC. It doesn't need to be great. It's not like I play WoW at work anymore, but 32 gigs of RAM is just fine anyway. So I'm going to try to not spill the water, right? Not spill the water. So, all right. Oh, that also does remind me that I should go to... hold on. Let me see real quick. Check something real fast. Okay. We probably shan't be doing that then. My honey messaged me. She says I look grainy. It's your bit rate, honey. Your bit rate. Okay. Yep, chat sounds on my end. You're like, huh. What a good microphone to pick that up. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to close that. Let me go ahead and do... That's fine. That's fine. I just need to... do a little thing there. Okay. Boom. have too many messaging apps. I was trying to figure out which one where it was. Yeah. I don't get a lot of text messages because I don't text a lot. And yesterday my phone was just going like nuts. Oh, not Pandora. Let's not get copywritten. I think it's still you, honey. She's saying it's on 1080p. I don't think I'm grainy. Maybe she's just so used to seeing me in 4K IRL, you know? But I'm also using an Elgato camera. I'm not using my main recording device, which is usually my phone. So it would be like that. So let's see. Wait, that one. Yeah, that one. And okay, we're gonna do that. We're gonna do DDR5 RAM itself so we can kind of see some pricing on all that sort of good stuff. So I guess we can just get going on everything that we need to get going on. So I have the let's see. So intro is going to be, I'm at about 23 minutes. So we'll just set this at 25 minutes will be the intro. Outro will be whatever. And try to keep these in the order with which I want to discuss all those things as well. I should have thought about an intro, shouldn't I? Also, it's a little bit darker in here because it's getting cloudy all of a sudden. I swear, every time I want to go live and I want to bring in the nice natural light, it's like, oh, we're going to be dark. So maybe part of the graininess is the lighting that I've got on it. Because I set it up and it looked great. And then, dude, everything needing to update. My gosh. Okay, let's see. This was... Nope. You know what I'm missing? The light behind me. Okay. There we go. A little bit nicer. Does that even me out or does that make it worse? Let's see. Bring me some more natural colors. A little on the, not grainy, but that's a little bit nicer. More natural looking. I don't know. I hate lights. I don't hate audio anymore. I got audio figured out. That's not a big deal. But, okay, so I said about the 25-minute mark, and we're now past the 25-minute mark, and I've not done the intro yet, so I will make it 26 minutes. Also, to myself, or to delete, whoever ends up editing this video, love you, and I'm sorry. So that should be good. So right about that 26-minute mark, and we'll go to the, we're live, you know, however it was. So how should this intro be? It's like, RAM prices are going absolutely insane, and I'm here to tell you exactly what it means and what we can do about it. Fun fact, it's nothing. We can't do anything about it. Why did that even come into mind? I have no idea. Anyway, talking about RAM, with this giant AI boom that is happening, several RAM manufacturers are pretty much having all of their stock of RAM allocated towards all these AI companies for the majority of 2026, maybe into 2027, possibly even beyond that. And generally, what that means for us as consumers is that everything is going to get more expensive unnecessarily and unfairly. RAM used to be one of those components that, as it was in production longer, the prices would get lower and the sizes would go higher. And that was great for a good while. I recently was able to get 96 gigs of DDR5 RAM for, I think $240, something like that. It was a really, really, really good deal. I have to recheck my video. But now, looking at the RAM prices, as of today, which is December the 4th, you can buy 32 gigs of RAM for about $350, and you can buy 64 gigs of RAM for almost $700. That's insane prices. So I'm here to break down what it means, why it's happening, and just what you need to know about the future. That wasn't too bad. I'll take that. Let's see. So what would be the first best one to go to? I also don't know if I want to use, when you Google stuff, it's like, oh, here's the AI overview. It's great because it gives me everything that I kind of want to see on a screen. But at the same time, this is the problem, is AI itself. So I don't want that to be the catalyst of what I'm using. So I have all these other tabs up here that you guys can't see that talk about the shortages and different news articles and all those sort of things. So let's see. The first thing we're going to be going for is what does it mean, which is around the 29-minute mark for what it means, which I might have already kind of expanded into that with the intro. Did I? I don't know. I need somebody to take minutes to be like, this is what you talked about. Let's see, what would be a good, right here. So we have a PC Gamer, which explains this is why memory and storage is so expensive. Of course, it's AI. And it's, maybe I can talk about what products will be affected, because that will be a sooner thing to talk about. So let me move that a little bit. Don't you love doing this stuff live? It's a little bit easier. I don't have to do as much of a setup, so that's not too bad. So 29-minute mark for that. So what did it say? What does it mean? Also, what I like now, because I'm a lazy reader, I like it when I can just be given the stuff that I need to read in bold. I've read a lot of the stuff about the RAM, and I know enough about it, but it's one of those things that I want to be able to be more quotacious with it, I suppose. Let's see. We got Micron, NVIDIA. I mean, we got so many problems with these things. We got Tom's Hardware. Go away. RAM prices. We got the PC Master Race to talk about RAM. All sorts of fun little goodies here to talk about. But I'm going to go into what products are affected, which is about the 31-minute mark-ish. So this is a great little example right here of this little Reddit post about, the AI coming to get the RAM, Micron, and GPU. It's going to affect way more than that. Any single device that has RAM inside of it, if the manufacturers do not have a stockpile and they're not going to be really terrible about it, it's going to go up. And we're talking about your, every single thing. PCs, laptops, desktops, gaming computers, RAM sticks themselves, phones, tablets, TVs, refrigerators, if they're the smart refrigerators, everything that uses any sort of RAM, including the NVMe SSDs and some SATA-based SSDs, because those also have RAM embedded in them. And because these manufacturers are choosing to sell pretty much to AI only, it means that the entire stock is just going to be sold. And these guys apparently have infinite money to throw at these problems. So any crumbs that are left over for us consumers or anything that has to go in anything else, prices are going to go up quite a lot. So with that, I would definitely recommend that if there's something that you need, it's a terrible time to buy it, but it's only going to get worse. And that's the hardest part. That right now, the cheap prices that we see, $600 something, $700 for 64 gigs of RAM, that could double again. I mean, it's absurd to think of, but when there's no manufacturing of this going on and there's nothing available, It's going to happen. This was similar to when the shortages happened with COVID and the shutdowns, where a lot of prices of things went up. And I remember lumber was one that was just absurd in the pricing for lumber. That stabilized, it came back down. So it's most likely that RAM itself will come back down in the future. It's just a matter of when that future will be. There's also more types of RAM. Right now, we're mainly talking about DDR5, but there's going to be a new type of RAM, essentially DDR6, that's going to be hopefully nicer. And then if there's enough way that they can make that, make things smaller, make the die smaller, but give you more capacity, it's possible that by time that is out, the shortage will also be over. But at the same token, if that RAM is so much better and it can run these programs and run AI better, well, it's just going to keep being a rinse and repeat cycle. I think I talked about everything I wanted to. Yeah, so we wanted to get a TV. I wanted to get a new TV upgrade. We have a beautiful 55-inch TV that we've had for 13 years now, I think. It works great, but I just want to have a bigger TV. Problem is, I didn't want to get it yet. I was like, yeah, maybe in the next year or so, but these smart TVs are going to have, I'm actually curious here. I'm actually curious, how much RAM does a smart TV have? Smart TVs typically come between 1 gig and 4 gigs of RAM. So that's not going to be a giant hit for the TVs, especially if the manufacturers like Samsung have the RAM stuff in stock, which, like I said, if they're stockpiling it, it should be okay. That was the other thing I forgot to mention. Yeah. Go back to another thing that's going to be affected by the shortages are going to be the game consoles. PS5, the Nintendo Switch, the Switch 2, your Steam Deck, everything that's also a console, the Xboxes, that's going to be hit really hard as well. There were a lot of Black Friday sales on these consoles, which was nice because they're trying to probably get rid of the stock because why not, So if you don't already have a PS5 like me who overpaid a lot and you are wanting one in the near future, especially with GTA theoretically coming out next year, you definitely want to pick one up now so you have it in advance, because if these prices just keep going up, you could be looking at, consoles that, maybe are increased by $100, $200, something like that. And it's not terrible, but that's just kind of a rough estimate based on absolutely nothing that I'm just thinking in my head right now. But that's something that why spend more money in the future when you can spend less money now for getting the same thing? That makes sense. Okay. So I can get rid of that one. Where did I have the... Let's look at some RAM pricing real quick, just to get kind of an idea of what's going on. I just went to Newegg and I just searched up DDR5 RAM. That's going to be about the 35. So this is what? 32 gigs of RAM, $350. 16 gigs of RAM, and this is DDR5, $190 for 16 gigs of RAM. In my RAM video, I said that if you had 32 gigs of RAM or like less than 32 gigs of RAM, you're committing a crime. I mean, shoot, you're going to be, most builds, your entire computer, you're talking like half the cost almost, is going to be just in RAM if you want to exceed 32 gigs of RAM. So $400 for this Corsair kit. Let's actually get to the higher end per module, like 48 gigs per module to get those 96 gig. Oh my gosh. Bro, over $1,000 for 96 gigs of RAM? I don't even know what that is. Oh my gosh. And we're not even talking about optimized RAM, the best speed, timings, voltages, all that sort of stuff. We're just talking about RAM. I don't even want to go to the next one. Let's get the 192 gig. It would make sense that, it'd be doubled in cost. But just seeing RAM, which they don't even have kits. You just buy 2 of the other kits, it'd be fine. $2,000. I think that's more than my entire computer build was. I'm actually, hold on. I want to go to my PC part picker thing that I had. I had a link in the descriptions for the other PC part pickers. Let me go to that real quick. It was the best. Nope, not that one. It was the PC part shopping guide. Let me just click any of those videos, and I should have the link. Boom. And I'm just going to pull this up here. So this was when I shopped for the PC that I did a video on. This is essentially what we were looking at here. The processor's gone down. The cooler's about the same. The board is roughly the same. I think I got it on a discount. Oh my gosh, that RAM. Okay, I'm going to do an exact comparison, and I'm going to pull up my video on how much my RAM cost when I was shopping for the RAM. Anybody with less... I think it was a rough estimate for how much. I mean, I know I got a discount on the RAM, for sure. The RAM, no, and it's in 380. 360. Let me get to 1080. I got this RAM for $290, and now it's $1,000. And I got this a couple of months ago. 96 gigs of DDR. 7 months ago, I guess. Roughly. 6, 7 something months ago. So the same PC that I bought for way less than this, and even that SSD, but I got the SSD on sale, so those haven't been hit too much yet. And then the graphics card, and then the case, and the power supply is also out. But you can combine every component here pretty much. Let's just do a quick little calculator to see how terrible it is. So without the discounts, we're going to go $2,290 minus $980. So $1,310 in everything else, and then $980 for the RAM itself. Whew, this is worse than I thought. This is a lot worse than I thought it was. Oh my gosh, that's depressing. That is so, so depressing. And so, let's see, we're at the 40-minute. So you're asking yourself, what do I do? What do you do when RAM prices are this absurd? And it's just RAM right now. We still have all these other components that are going to be going up in the same way. But as I kind of mentioned earlier, you have to make a sacrifice. If you're building a gaming PC today, I would recommend you buy the RAM first stop. Do not let the prices go up any higher. I still would recommend buying a reputable brand like Corsair, which we'll talk about Micron and Corsair in the future, and sticking with G.Skill as well. Those two. I wouldn't fall into the risk of getting some of this lower quality Team Group RAM just because the prices might be a little bit better. But let's see, 32 gigs for 430, 32 gigs. I mean, it's even more expensive, so you don't even have to worry about that. Get the Corsair kit. But 64 gigs at $410, that's about what the RAM prices-ish were maybe when DDR5 first came out. But it's still not ideal. I wouldn't get any less than 32 gigs. But wait, this is... Oh, yeah, okay. So 32 gigs, never mind. That's already more expensive. I thought this was 32 times 2. I was doing the wrong math. So this is about maybe double what it was when DDR5 first came out, give or take, if my memory's not mistaken me. So buy the RAM and then buy the SSD. We have, let's just see that real quick. This should be about, not the Pro variant. This should be, ooh, gosh. I like to also sell just by Newegg because You get third-party vendors that can sell it for however much they want to sell it. Newegg got a little bit worse. Oh gosh. Newegg's out of stock. Is this by Newegg? Sold by 3C Expert. Because that's 1 terabyte for 170. That is not what that should be. So, but if Newegg is out of stock, then you're kind of stuck with those pricing, I guess. So I would show you Amazon, but I'm not going to show you Amazon. But SSDs are going to be next to get hit. Graphics cards are going to be hit as well. And let me talk about that for a moment. So NVIDIA, and this might also be more than just NVIDIA, but reportedly no longer supplying VRAM to its GPU board partners in response to the memory crunch. So what does that mean? It pretty much means that if you're Asus and PNY and MSI and you want to manufacture a graphics card, NVIDIA is no longer going to sell you the chips to be able to do so. You'll get the actual, like you'll get the die, but you're going to have to get the memory on your own. Exactly what it says there is exactly what that means. And that would probably be, you'd have to check with Asus Logistics or something to see, okay, they could normally buy RAM at this price from NVIDIA. It might even have been a discount if they're buying bulk. That's usually how those things would work. So now, if they're going to be forced to get the RAM on their own, not only does that mean potentially more sketchy quality of RAM that don't necessarily fit NVIDIA standards, if those existed, but it's going to also mean that you're going to not probably buy as much RAM, and it's going to make the prices just go up. GPUs, already they were having a hard time with a lot of manufacturers wanting to add in only 8 gigs of RAM to the cards, which the bare minimum right now should be 12 gigs on any card. I'd even like to see 16 gigs be the bare minimum on any GPU, but if that's going to make it so more 8 gig cards are going to be common, and the other cards that are out, when there's not the shortage at the time, it's going to make them extremely expensive. Like already we had the 5090 with 24 or 48 gigs of RAM that was going to be $2,000 just as it was. That's going to go way up. But, that part going up at least isn't too absurd, because I can't imagine that the $2,000 card would double to a $4,000 card unless people pay for it. Then, why not? But I think it's also going to stifle a lot of growth, because there's not going to be any need for these manufacturers to develop these things for the consumers when they can just sell it all to AI, and it doesn't have to necessarily, I don't know, like what am I going for? Be, better and be these massive jumps in technology until that actually would naturally happen. Because AI just needs, it consumes, it just has to have. Whereas you and me, we just want more frames. So if we have a 5090, there's no reason to buy another 5090. It's right there. We have 192 gigs of RAM. There's no reason to buy 192 gigs of RAM. But if they come out with something that's a 6090, oh yeah, I'd want to buy that. If they come out with more RAM, yeah, I want to buy that. But AI, it doesn't matter. They just need it and they just consume it. This is going to be my worst, saddest video I've ever made. And I think I've made a couple of those. So let's see. We got that done, that done. Did I talk about why it's happening? I don't even know if I really talked about why it's happening. Let me go to... I think I talked a little bit about it, but I don't know if I actually went into it. But the that was another notification. But let's see, why is this happening? 46-ish. The easiest explanation as to why this RAM shortage is happening is because it's pretty much all been bought up and all spoken for the supplies that are out there. Because there's a limited amount of this stuff that can be made. Like anything, there's a limit to how much stuff can exist at any given time, because the materials have to be mined, sourced, they have to be manufactured, produced, all those sort of things. And generally, there's an amount of, okay, we know we're going to sell this much of a product. We know that we can produce this much of a product. That's kind of what the manufacturing does. Are there ways for them to enhance and increase that manufacturing? Probably, but the best example that I can think of off the top of my head is when the Nintendo Wii first came out. The first one, there was such a shortage in that, and Nintendo could not keep enough on their shelves. And it was like, we'll just make more. And Nintendo was like, well, no, we don't want to make more. We don't want to scale production, because then eventually if we scale it too much, then we're going to have too much product. And that means nobody's going to be able to buy the surplus, and it's going to end up costing us money. So they were just like, let's just keep as it was. And business wise, that is a smart decision. And if that's at all similar to how it would be for the PC realm and PC parts, I'd like to say that it probably is, just based on the logic of these things and how these components are manufactured. But, you know, that's kind of the thing there. And if they were to scale anything, it would just be for the AI stuff, not for us consumers. Because even at the end of the day, we're looking at buying a PC. We're like, well, maybe we don't want to spend $2,000 on this much RAM. We'll buy cheaper RAM. Whereas AI is like, we want more RAM than that. Here's a check with infinite zeros to it. Let's see. I'm gonna click this one. We're keeping track of the prices. And so these are some fun things too, where they have like these price histories. I'm not really going into those like price histories. Just let everybody else do that work. But they have DDR5 RAM. So they just have like specific types of RAM, I guess, and what that exact stick has cost over the course of time. I want to make that one. I want to make that one bigger. Because according to this, like the Western Digital SSD hasn't been affected at all in the past year. But that's gonna change very soon. What was this? They had like something to make it bigger. Now I gotta manually make it bigger. So this was a GPU. What was this one again? The 5070 12 gig GPU. I'm just curious. Okay. But then again, this is surplus. This is current stuff that's already there. So just like there's deals and sales and everything, but that's, you know, that's about as low of a price as that's ever going to get. So if you need a GPU for less than the cost of 64 gigs of RAM, you can get a 5070 GPU. That's crazy. All right, and then where was the... And then before I go into some other things, let me talk about Micron, which is about the 51-minute mark. So Micron themselves is a massive manufacturer. I think I had a window open with them. I'm not sure. Yeah. Okay. So Micron recently decided, let me redo that because that's a weird thing to talk and sit at the same time. Micron recently decided to get out of the game after Q2 of 2026 and focus solely on AI. And they're a big player. They make a lot of RAM for a lot of different companies. Micron has usually been relatively stable. I know that they focused with Crucial a lot, and it's one of those things that they were a good player in the game, pretty much. They were focused on stability, reliability, and you know, they're shutting down. And so they just want to sell it to AI companies instead. Now, I haven't bought Crucial RAM itself in quite some time. It's not visible, but I have some Crucial Ballistics RAM. The last time I bought it was up there. I've got 6 gigs of it. Who knows how much that will be in the future? But it's DDR3 RAM. But them choosing to shut down and who they make their parts for, that's what I kind of wanted to get like an idea of like, where's everything. So we're just going to take this article's numbers, for truth at this point. But let's see, they were, this is not necessarily, this is just something else talking about them making a deal with 900,000 DRAM per month. Wow. It's crazy. Because Micron made RAM for a handful of different manufacturers. And I had that list somewhere, but I don't know where that list went. Because I looked here, like, who do they make RAM for? And it's not like people usually only get RAM from just like one company. A lot of times they'll have different sources and different things they can get them from. And I was pretty sure that Apple makes their own in-house RAM as well. But I know they tried to make everything in-house. They made their own SSDs. They were using Samsung chips, but then they use their own SSDs. I think they do their own RAM. I know they make their own processors. So Apple stuff, I'm not sure. Welcome to recommendations or corrections on that. Because a lot of times when they say, it's like, okay, they make RAM and they make it for Dell. You can pull out any Dell and any stick and you can look at the actual DIMMs themselves. They're usually made by Samsung or SK Hynix. I've never said that word out loud besides in another video. And that's like one of the, 3 main manufacturers of that as Micron, Samsung, and SK Hynix. So let's go to this one here. And with Micron getting out of the game, it's going to make it more difficult for the consumers because these 2 other manufacturers can be like, well, why shouldn't we sell it for more money? And there's many reasons why they shouldn't sell it for more money, but they're going to keep selling it for a lot more money. A curious question that I have about some of this RAM, though, is that if we have lifetime warranties on the RAM, will you still get that RAM? Most of the time, though, RAM, especially Crucial RAM, Micron RAM, it's not going to be failing on you. But everything just points to AI infrastructure. They need to buy AI, and that's as simple as it is. RAM and everything else is going to be in an absolute cluster for the next few years because of AI. Which gets us to the final point, or one of the final points in here, which is about the 55-minute mark. When will RAM prices go down? And so the wonderful AI talks about, unlikely to drop anytime soon. And the general consensus seems to be sometime in 2027. A lot of it has to do with the thought that AI, just as they say right there, bubble burst. The AI stuff is just going to break and everything's going to come crashing down, just like the .com bust and then the housing market and then everything, just like everything has to have this like, well, it's going to fall. And personally, professionally, AI has taken such amazing strides that until they can find a way to make AI do as much as it's doing now, but with way less power consumption and way less processing power and way less RAM, I don't see this as being anything that's going to change at all for at least 3 or 4 years. Because there's no reason for it to, because we keep having all these people that keep using these things. And even if you don't want to use it, simple Google searches shove AI everywhere. So, and you look on a Twitter Blue Sky for just half a second, you'll see everybody using the newest Grok, the newest Nano Banana from Gemini, newest ChatGPT stuff to show you these amazing things that they can do. And it's quite impressive. So since these things keep moving forward, I mean, unless there's something on the economy side that's going to cause it to bust that I'm not aware of, technologically speaking, there's no reason for this to slow down in any capacity. Now, if we run out of water from cooling these things, yeah, that would probably cause it too. But then we're just going to find a way to get these things running in space, I don't know. But I would personally expect that it's going to go several years. So if you need something that has a lot of RAM within the next couple of years, I would get it sooner if you're at all capable of doing so, because it's going to be almost impossible to buy it in the future, at least economically speaking. And I don't like the AI overview. I hate the AI overview, but it just gives me everything I want without having to click so much. And you go into Reddit and everything, like any idea when the RAM price is. This was that one that I was on that was funny. And you have people, 64 gigs of RAM was $1,000 for him. So data centers have requested priority in production over consumer hardware. We might start to see drops in prices after 2027. Problem is that's just kind of based on the thought of like, well, the AI will calm down, but I really don't think it is. I did have a question about DDR6 RAM itself, right? And even Brave has it. My gosh. Because not only was it going to be DDR6 RAM, there was also going to be DDR6 RAM that was supposed to be like a socket or something like that. Like socket. I forget. I don't know. I forget what it was called though. Not like a socket. Is that what they're creating those things? I think that's what it was. No? Either way, there was something about DDR6 RAM, but DDR5 RAM has only been out for not even that long. So, but that will be affected. And then I'm also curious though, real quick, is DDR4 RAM affected in the same way? Probably not. It's only probably affected in the sense that they no longer mass produce DDR4 RAM. I mean, let's see if you can even get it sold by Newegg anymore. Okay, you can. So 32 gigs of DDR4 RAM for $165. That's relatively within normal pricing. That's not like absolutely absurd. But then when you get to G.Skill, like that's $390 for the Trident Z versus the Ripjaw. I mean, that is quite the expense there. But yeah. Ooh, I am sad now. So this will be a fun video to edit. I'm sure it will be. We had that one. Yeah. And then we also have the question, though, of will the prices ever stabilize? Which, once NVIDIA came out with these graphics cards that were like super, super expensive and they realized they can just keep selling them at that price, the prices never really came down. So they'll probably come down to a certain degree, but I don't know if we'll ever have RAM as inexpensively as we did in the past, where you get 96 gigs for $290. But that's just the cynicism in me seeing how other components have gone up so much. But at least things right now, processors are not seemingly being affected besides AMD wanting to raise the prices of theirs. Cases obviously shouldn't be affected. Coolers shouldn't be affected. Fans shouldn't be affected. Because why would they be affected, you know? The only problem with fans themselves is how expensive they keep trying to make these stupid fans. And, you know, monitors, microphones, all these other peripherals, you really shouldn't have any issues with those things. It's just going to be... But it doesn't really matter how many components are super, super expensive. If you have one component that is so expensive that it makes it so you can't get your build, then it's just a terrible time overall. And some of these other manufacturers, like pre-built PCs, you know, we're going to start to see those prices go up a lot in these pre-builts and everything. And probably what's going to happen, what you're going to see, is a lot of these manufacturers are going to not only raise their pricing, but they're also going to lower the options that they offer for RAM. They're going to pretty much, like 32 gigs might be the norm, or they might also be trying to push the 16 gig limit as well. But, you know, otherwise you're going to be looking at computers that are going to be $3-4 grand. And then same with commercial laptops and everything as well. Once these manufacturers run out of their supply of the parts that they have, the roof is going to get blown off on all those prices. But that is pretty much everything that I have for the wonderful shortage of RAM and everything else of what's going on in the kind of the news, so you know what's going on. I hope I can make a decent video about this. But I have no idea. But thank you, everybody who has watched this video in the past, present, and future. Anybody that saw it on the live stream, remember you can check me out anywhere at the Don Tech. And that's all I've got for you today. Text my business, is that what I say? No. But thank you so much for watching. And remember, the Don's got your back. So that will be an end part, at least for that one. And let me just go ahead and save that before I forget to the live stream. Boom. Oh, that was sad. Wait, we got intermission talking head. There we go. There's probably a small bump for DDR from panic buying. There are still several people that have DDR4 RAM. Yourself included. And I think even this PC is DDR4 and my work PC is DDR4. But if I'm not mistaken, you know, my computer has 64 gigs right now. I don't even think my board could handle. I think it's a Z790 Strix. Yeah, Wi-Fi D4. Let's see, max RAM. I can take 128 gigs. All right, I'm going to go to Newegg again real quick. We're going to search 128 gigs of DDR4. Oh, gosh. Okay, never mind. Nope, that's expensive. It's technically cheaper than 96 gigs of DDR5, so you're getting more for less, but RAM is not worth $1,000. And just like, what was it, several years ago when AI was first coming out and they had the Will Smith eating the spaghetti deal, and it was like, oh, wow, that's weird. It's not that great. It's amazing that you can do that with a prompt, but the synopsis was then, this is as bad as it's ever going to be. Similarly with RAM, this is the cheapest it's ever going to be. And the only way it would come down is if that bubble does indeed pop. But from the technical side, I just can't see that happening. I mean, there's a lot of people that don't like AI. A lot of people that don't want to use AI. A lot of things that are just bad and terrible with AI. And just because you don't like something doesn't mean that it's going to go away. And I really don't think it's going to be going away. Because these manufacturers as well, they have no reason for it to go away. And whatever the, you know, I don't know, money laundering, just for lack of better words, could happen from having this stuff going on. But there's nothing that would stop it. I can't see anything stopping it. Besides, we run out of water. So, you think the recording seemed good, by the way? Pretty informative? Thank you. I like being able to show that I can read and I can talk on the fly without having to edit things so that like it looks like I know what I'm talking about. And I generally tend to know what I'm talking about. It just helps if I have a plan and I know kind of what I want to say. And I feel like I had the plan of what I wanted to say, but I didn't have the support and the sources on the tabs that would have. I could have done that a little bit better, but that's fine. Because what's important? Content is content. And putting out stuff is important. If people want perfection, they're not going to subscribe to me anyway. Is my nose red right here? I don't know if my nose is red. Honey, is my nose red right here? I feel like the bubble will burst. But it's not it's going to entirely go away thing, but a matter of every single company just trying to throw their money at it anyway. But so that was the thing, that I had a really good example of what it felt like to me. And I didn't get to experience this back in the 1960s, but it feels to me like the space race, where everybody's trying to do everything they can, throw as much money as they can to go to space first. And now here, all these companies want to throw all this stuff at it to try to be the next with AI, you know? Because some of the things you can do with it, I mean, it's imagine that if in the future you want to make a movie, you just type a prompt of what you want to see, and it just does it all for you. I mean, you can already do some pretty crazy, wild stuff with AI. If you're learning stuff about offline things and like the stuff that you can do with your computer and using your own like processing power and stuff, it's pretty phenomenal what it can actually do. And I feel bad for the people that have done a lot of programming and know a lot of stuff with that, and then AI can just kind of do it. That'd be bad. My stuff, AI can never touch my stuff. The boots on the ground, physical, manual labor, AI's never got that. Also, I would say that AI helps me in my job, because if you look up, how do I solve X problem, and AI wants to come up and help you solve that problem, like, hey, my computer is not turning on. How do I fix it? And AI is like, repaste your paste your processor. Okay, I'll do that. Which is like, no, nothing at all. Like if your PC doesn't turn on, it's never going to be because your thermal paste just went bad. So, so then these people will take their cooler off, and they'll take their processor out, and they'll look at it, and they'll drop it a few times. They'll wipe the crumbs off. They'll put it back in. They'll put the paste on it, and then they'll mess it up and break it more. So AI works really well in that regard. But yeah, it can't quite, it shouldn't be relied upon yet in a lot of different things. But it can help you with what, like, scripting and what, resumes. And what was something funny that I saw, that all these people are creating resumes using AI, and it's going to HRs, and all that's reading the resumes is AI. So it's like the dead internet theory, I guess, as well. What is that window? Okay, the max RAM of that. Okay, cool. Whew. Excuse me. So, it's funny. I had a video that I was going to be working on about editing. Not editing. It was going to be working on a budget build PC. When I did that PC, I was able to get a budget built PC for a little bit over $1,000, like $1,010 or something like that, and it had 32 gigs of RAM. Well, that computer is now at least probably $1,300 or more. So much for a budget build, which still, budget builds, they don't make any sense. I don't get how you can do a budget build. Oh. But all right, I got that filmed. So the plan will be to edit the video between today and hopefully today and tonight, get the video edited, and then get it released and then ready tomorrow. Wait, can we do like a, did I have, no. Nope. Huh. We'll talk like, oh. So it's the, over here, like, well, I want it to show this way. Okay. Hold on. I can do this. General, I need to get myself a full thing though. Like, you know what? Let's go back to the, I don't know what button I press there. Well, no, that'd be a terrible background for that. . 'Cause, 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 Let's see. You know, I think I'll just take a picture because I'm not like sitting, I'll be like standing, and I could get more stuff in it for like better things with like RAM, but I'll just have kind of a thumbnail of like RAM. It's going to make me look really rich. This was what, 32 gigs? I'm holding $300 in my hand, which isn't like insane. But I just need to make a thumbnail for that. That should be easy enough. That'd be good to go. So, all right. Yeah, my whole studio is in shambles. I have not really done much since I was doing that big grind to get the YouTube watch hours. And I was doing so much stuff, and then it just went haywire. But I think that's about all we've got. I mean, might as well just end that. There's no sense in going any further, I suppose. Nope, nothing else to do. But I'll get ready to start editing that video. I can't do it now, though. I would love to do it on stream, but the video is currently in use. The video file's in use because it's what's being on there. All right, all those windows. Boom. Wow. That was just sad, though. I'll be curious to see. I bet you mid-2026. I don't even know what RAM will be available in 2026. So, at least it's nice to know that I recently upgraded my computer earlier this year. Soon it's going to be like a metric of, you know, one of the most expensive things in my computer, probably soon enough, will be that 96 gigs of RAM. If it was already $1,000, now let's say it doubles again, $2,000 just for that, like that one component. Better than gold right now. The problem with it being used RAM, though, is if you still need to have RAM to replace the RAM. And I think I've only got, wait, no, shoot. Delete System's also DDR4. I think the only bit of DDR5 RAM that I have is my newest rig, because there was no reason to upgrade to anything higher. Like RAM in that period was really expensive, but I got it for a really good deal, and now it's back to being really expensive. So, if you want RAM, though, and you want to shop at RAM, be sure to use my Amazon store, amazon.com/shop/thedontech, where I get a nice little kickback. And if you're buying RAM, I'm getting a big ol' kickback. Could be whatever is being cycled out of the AI systems. Because I don't even know how frequently they upgrade those computers, or if they just add more nodes to things. So if they just add more everything to it. I should make AI. The Dontech.ai. Just have him sit here the whole time and do live streams. Yeah. That'd be fine. But that's the thing. That will be a future. Like, that will be a reality where you'll have just like, I mean, they're already doing it with so many crazy things, but you can have podcasts and live streams where you'll think it's me, because there's enough data of me out there on the internet where you could feed an AI like program to mimic a ton of stuff that I do. It's just a matter of like, oh, you can pick out that that's AI. But otherwise, yeah, it's... How much RAM do I need to do that myself, I wonder? No. But nice to see you, Alt. I'm going to go ahead and get on with the rest of my day. I've got another 50 minutes or so before I got to get some stuff done. So I will go ahead and just go find my ending thing here because I don't need to do an end screen because ending screens don't matter. Wait a second. Is there anybody to raid? Hold on. We can raid on Twitch. Probably not. I don't know anybody on Twitch anymore. Everybody that I used to follow doesn't like live stream anymore. The only one is Smart Alec, and he's not live right now. Alt, you going live? You gonna go live? I'll raid you with my one viewer, which might be you. Cool. All right. Well, thank you guys again so much for watching. Past, present, future. Look out for more content coming from the Dontech soon. Can AI edit videos for us yet? That's my biggest thing that I need. I need to have like just all my content like this, shove it to an AI thing, and it just goes like, okay, here, this is what made the most sense, and it just cuts everything for me. You know, that would just make my life easier. That's what I'm going for. So those things probably exist. I do use some things to take a long form video and I shove it to a thing and it just like kind of creates shorts from it. But some of the other shorts that I do, they're actually made from me. Usually the shorts that have captions are the ones that are done by those like AI modules, because it just like take the stuff, export it, get it, you know, that sort of stuff. But yeah, maybe I'll do it with this one. I don't know. Or delete. Either way. Thank you guys so much for watching. This has been the Dom with the Dontech. I got your back. I'll see you in the next one. Bring it on.